Hello, everyone to Forest Focus. You're about to hear or watch the opposition preview ahead of the trip to Palace with Matt Watts from a team called Palace. As you'll tell pretty quickly, this was recorded on Thursday, so before Palace played Fredrikstad in the Conference League, and of course, before all the events of yesterday around Nuno and his future at Nottingham Forest. But there is still lots of good stuff in there. It doesn't feel dated. I've watched it back. There's good insight on Palace tactically and Matt's thoughts on the game in general with the extra edge of all the Conference League stuff as well. So do check it out. Do enjoy it. Do hit like, etc., etc. And we'll be back tomorrow with the post-match show. Hello, welcome to Forest Focus. As evil Nottingham Forest prepare to take on the victims of the biggest miscarriage of justice since Deirdre Barlow went to jail. Will Crystal Palace avenge that cast verdict, or will the potential loss of Eberechi Eze cost them? Joining to discuss that is Matt Watts from a team called Palace. Matt, forgive me for that intro. I just thought I'd have a bit of fun writing it, but how are you?
Yeah, very well. Very much looking forward to El Casico on Sunday.
That's what it's been dubbed, isn't it? I know. You're much younger than me. Do we even get that Deirdre Barlow reference?
Yeah, I think so. Coronation Street?
Yeah. She got sent down for murdering her husband, didn't she? She didn't do it or something. But I was about 10 at the time. So, how old are you?
34.
34. Okay, you might have just been born. So, yeah, I've got 9 years on you. So, yeah, that's disgusting. Right. We'll get into all the specifics. How are you feeling about this game in general? There's a lot of stuff going on around it. So, what are your thoughts in general?
I just feel like everything this summer is coming up Nottingham Forest, isn't it? When we spoke about arranging this call, I said about the fact that, I can do it on Thursday, but obviously we've got the game in the evening that you guys should be playing in. And lo and behold, the fact that after our game on Thursday, we're coming up against you guys. Obviously, you signed some players with your Europa League money, in inverted commas. Imagine they'll be ready to go at Selhurst. I'd imagine that Eberechi Eze will have moved on by then. So, yeah, as I said, everything is coming up Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, it does feel that way. But football, I'm always conscious football's cyclical. And at one point, everything will definitely not be coming up Nottingham Forest. But it is that way at the moment. I mean, what's the app? Well, I know it's going to be a hostile atmosphere. I suppose, how hostile do you think it'll be? Is it being overblown or not?
Probably, yeah. I think obviously the media like to blow these things up and make them bigger than they are. All I would say is I think you have to remember that from a Palace perspective, we're not going to play against UEFA this year. Obviously, we're in a UEFA competition, hopefully for a little while, but we're not going to play against UEFA. We're also not going to play against John Textor. If he's got any sense, I'd imagine he'll be giving Selhurst Park a wide berth. We are going to be playing against Nottingham Forest, the team owned by Mr. Marinakis. So, yeah, I think there will be a little bit of extra hostility. But at the same time, listen, as far as I'm concerned, it's done. Hopefully, we get into the main Conference League as such. Hopefully, we go on, we win it, and we have a good season in the Premier League.
Yeah, I should say, just because of scheduling, I could really do with Friday off because my wife's taking the day off. And last time she did that, I worked all day. And so I can't do that again. So Friday off. So we're recording this Thursday before the Conference League game against Fredrikstad. Do you think that's a factor in the game, by the way, that we've got the extra day's rest or not?
Potentially, yeah, potentially. As I said, it's just so typical, the fact that, we're playing against you guys after this game. But yeah, I think, listen, at this stage of the season, you'd like to think that it wouldn't have too much of an impact. The players should still be relatively fresh. Obviously, we've had the Community Shield. We've had our first Premier League game against Chelsea. You'd imagine that tonight there might be a couple of changes, but not too many, because ultimately we need to get the job done. We need to get into the main Conference League. So, yeah, I mean, we should still be relatively fresh, but obviously it just means you guys have got a little bit longer to prepare.
We did our preview earlier, and we discussed the atmosphere and the impact on players. And I didn't really qualify to answer it, so I'm going to ask you a question you might not be qualified to answer. But we discussed whether it would impact our players at all. So I rang Gary Birtles, obviously a European Cup winner, and he said he didn't think it would impact Forest players. He thought they'd be stupid if they go flying into tackles. He did say he thought the message from Nuno would be try and use the crowd to make Palace players make rash decisions, because it's that febrile atmosphere. Do you see that being an issue with any of your players that might get caught up in the moment too much or not? We had a couple of names for us. Have you got any for you or not?
Oh, I mean, I'd imagine Will Hughes would quite like to put his foot in, but he probably would against Forest anyway. So that's not going to be too different. Listen, I think for the players, obviously they will know what's gone on, but ultimately they will not have any extra beef with the likes of Morgan Gibbs White and these sorts of guys. You know, most of them are friends, aren't they? Let's be honest. So I don't really feel like there's going to be too much added beef on the pitch. Obviously, last season we did well in derby matches. We were 2 from 2 against Brighton. We did well in important games, obviously in the FA Cup as well. So personally, I'm hoping that our players can harness the atmosphere. Most of these guys these days, you know, they are friends. They get on well. A lot of them play international football together. So I don't think there'll be too many issues, to be honest with you.
We were discussing it today, as mentioned. We did it live. Quite a few people in the chat thought they've got no Eze. I'll ask you about Mark Gahey. They thought it made them confident that we would come away with a win. And our point was Palace are still a really good side, and they played very well against Chelsea, and they won the Community Shield. So let's first assume that Eze doesn't play in the game. How much of an impact is that, and how confident would you still be of getting a win in this one from a Palace point of view?
I think it is a big impact. We don't really have like for like replacements in that respect. You know, it looks as though Ebbs is going to play his last game for Palace on Thursday night. Apparently, the medical is booked for Friday. It sounds like everything's agreed. So, you know, by Sunday, I don't think he'll be a Palace player. I don't think he'll be playing against Forest. In terms of our kind of backup options in that position, they're just not the same. You know, you're talking about the likes of Jez Saki, Romain Esse. You know, these are guys who are young players, have done well in the Championship, but they've never really done it in the Premier League. So, yeah, listen, it's going to be a blow. I think there might be maybe a little bit of reshuffling. You might see someone like Daichi Kamada play a little bit further forwards, or maybe Justin Devenny will come in. But yeah, listen, we don't have anyone who can just kind of step in and replace Ebb. So obviously that is a big blow. I mean, in terms of Mark Gahey, I think he probably will still be at the club. I think he'll be playing. But yeah, listen, it's a massive blow for Palace. I think, you know, realistically, we probably will have an Ebbs replacement in the coming days, just not in time to take on you guys on Sunday.
I'll just ask one quickly then. Just on the off chance Gahey doesn't play, we said it would maybe like Jefferson Lerma drops in. Just if he doesn't play, what would you do?
Yeah, so if Mark Gahey doesn't play, I'd imagine Jefferson Lerma probably would drop in. He did that quite a bit towards the back end of last season. You know, we're in quite a strange position where so far this summer, I think we've spent £2 million and we just don't have the kind of backup options in the squad at the minute. So realistically, we do need to move on the likes of Eze and Gahey, get the money in, and then, you know, we need to bulk up the squad. We need to make the squad better for Oliver Glasner so he can challenge on all fronts this season.
Yeah, I know, like we've spoken in the past and we've said, you know, Palace's first 11 is great, and then there's not so much beyond that. I guess we're seeing it now. I mean, Palace fans, Forest fans have been annoyed about our slow progress, which we've addressed. Is there an annoyance in the Palace fan base and with Glasner that these transfers haven't happened yet, or are they still understanding?
I mean, given the amount that you guys have spent since you came up, and given the amount of players you brought in, I think Palace fans would be like, "You've got nothing to moan about," because yeah, we do not spend a lot of money. We don't do a lot of transfers. I think last summer we were one of a couple of Premier League clubs to make a profit. And then this summer again, I mean, you know, if Eze goes for just shy of 70 million, if Gahey goes for say 40, you know, I can't see us spending 110 million pounds. So once again, we'll probably net a cheeky little profit. But that's just the way that we do things as a club. That's the way that kind of Steve Parish runs it. You know, we do need to get more players in. I think that's pretty clear. And as you said, if you're Oliver Glasner, you're sitting there thinking, well, hang on a minute, I've just delivered arguably the greatest season in the history of Crystal Palace. I've bought you 2 trophies in the space of a few months. You need to back me, because he's a serious manager. He is the sort of manager who, could easily be managing someone in the Champions League. So, yeah, you would like to think that in the coming days, weeks, we will be busy. I just don't think we'll do quite as much business as myself and lots of Palace fans would like us to.
What do you make of the Eze situation in general? I mean, we were laughing at the Spurs thing last night as neutrals. Although I guess we had a part in it. Everything comes up for us, as you say, with Gibbs White. What do you make of what's happened? Any ill will towards the player and the fee as well? Is it about right or not?
I think the fee is about right. I think with Ebbs, you have to remember that he's 27. And listen, I know 27 is still young, but in football terms, you don't usually get these big fees for players who are kind of above the age of 25, 26. So he's 27. He's in the final 2 years of his contract. I think he's made it pretty clear that he doesn't want to sign a new one. And listen, he's the sort of player that could definitely play in the Champions League. He could definitely play for a team like Arsenal. I think he'd make them better. So listen, there is absolutely no ill will from Palace fans towards Ebbs, because he has been fantastic for us. When you look at that FA Cup last year, he scored the only goal in the third round, first goal in the quarter-final, first goal in the semi-final, and the only goal in the final. He has been a fantastic player for us. He's been an absolute joy to watch. He's a quality player to watch. And also just the way he carries himself, the way he conducts himself, just an absolutely top bloke. So yeah, Palace fans, do not, have any ill will towards him. And hopefully he'll get a really good send-off on Thursday night.
Just before I ask Matt a couple more, just a word for the Trent Navigation game is televised, as I've been saying all week. So if you don't have a ticket and you don't want to watch it at home, get down the Nav. Breakfast from 10. You can get Sunday roast there as well. Maybe squeeze that in before kickoff at 2. And then if you're feeling hungry still and you want your dinner, get your pizza or your barbecue there as well. Make a whole day of it. And yeah, don't book. You just need to turn up. It'll be busy, but you can just turn up and it'll be a good atmosphere, I'm sure. So thanks to those guys as ever. Just going back again to what we were saying about recalling the preview earlier, I think myself, Pete, who and Mikey, I think Mikey made the point. He sees it as Wharton versus Anderson, sort of. It should be the audition for who plays alongside Declan Rice in the World Cup. You could weigh in on Elliot Anderson, I guess, if you've seen enough of him. But is that a fair assessment, do you think, or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, there are lots of areas of the pitch that are going to be important. Obviously, I think whenever you play against Forest, you know that you need to keep Morgan Gibbs-White quiet. I think also you need to keep Chris Wood quiet, because I think for me, there's still not enough respect put on his name, given what he achieved last season. Obviously started this season really well. I think Elliot Anderson is a quality player. And listen, I remember watching Elliot Anderson playing in League Two for Bristol Rovers, and he was just absolutely head and shoulders above the rest. And yeah, I think he's a top player. I think you did really well to get him in the sort of circumstances you got him, with Newcastle needing to get some money in for profit and sustainability. But yeah, obviously he is a top player. Adam Wharton is also a top player. I think Thomas Tuchel would be daft to not have a good look at both of them over the next few months. But obviously, as a Palace fan, I'm going to say, Adam Wharton is clear, but I think Elliot Anderson is a top player.
No, they are both top players. That pass that Wharton played in the Community Shield is probably the thing that we see. But I think a lot of fans, actually, I think he is quite well appreciated. But the stuff he does in close quarters and without the ball, I think make him really elite. And he should have more England caps than he's got, certainly. Other battles are interesting, Mateta versus probably Milenkovic. Mateta's really hurt us in the past. And then the threat that you have, it feels quite lopsided, your team, especially without Eze. But if you've got Munoz and Sarr, is all the threat going to come down the right, do you think, or not?
Yeah, I mean, potentially without Ebbs, it could. I think, yeah, obviously Daniel Munoz, quality right back. He showed that last season. Again, he's another one where he's at an age where, if he was a bit younger, I think some top European clubs would have come in for him this summer, because he had an outstanding season for us. He just runs all day long. And he does also have good quality in the final third. And then, as you say, Ismaila Sarr, just that change of pace. Again, good finisher. He's been a really, really good signing for us. I think we picked him up for something like 12 or 13 million. An absolute snip. He's been brilliant. But yeah, those guys are probably our main attacking threat, obviously, alongside John Philippe Mateta. I mean, the left-hand side will be interesting, because Tyrick Mitchell is generally more of a defensive left wing back compared to someone like Munoz. Obviously, now we have Borna Souza. Haven't seen a great deal of him, but I think his delivery is better than Mitchell's. Yeah, it would just be interesting to see who he does play in the left-hand side pocket off Mateta, because Eddie Nketiah is injured, so it won't be him. He won't be playing deeper. I mean, we've still got Odsonne Edouard knocking around the squad, but I doubt he'll play. So I do think it'll probably be Daichi Kamada further forwards, or maybe someone like Justin Devaney.
Oz is interesting. I googled him then when you said about how old he was. I just assumed he's like 24 or something like that. He's 29. He feels like the perfect Palace player because not many teams play wing backs now. Could he play right back, or is he just a wing back, would you say?
I think he could play right back, but I think he might get found out because he just loves going forward so much. So yeah, he does really suit the wing back system. There are a few more teams that do use it these days, but yeah, I mean, you talk about someone like Man United obviously implementing this system. I mean, listen, I think Oliver Glasner knows the system better than Ruben Amorim. And I do think that we've got certain players who play the system better as well. And Daniel Munoz is an absolutely classic example of that.
I say perfect Palace player because he's 29, like you say, probably people aren't going to come in for him, but he's as good as anyone in the league, isn't he? I would say. I mean, like you say, other wing backs, Spurs play it with Porro, Diogo Dalot, who else? That's it, really. You take him over them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, with Palace, this is another classic thing where obviously Daniel Munoz, massive player for us, so important to the way that we play. But then if Daniel Munoz gets injured, you're sort of looking around, you're like, well, hang on, who's going to play right wing back? Because, Nathaniel Klein, bless him, is not going to do it anymore. He's, far too old to be doing that. And then, we've got Caleb Kapora, young lad. He's currently injured. I mean, Chris Richards could potentially do it, but that's far from ideal. So, this is the problem with Palace's squad, and the problem that Palace fans have is obviously this season, we're hoping to play a lot more games in Europe, and you do look at certain positions and you think there's just no depth.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we've spoken about quite a lot this week, especially Nuno can turn around now and he's going to see Callum Wendo, McAtee and Hutchinson on the bench. Is that a big concern for you then, that when Glasner turns round, he sees, I mean, who does he see? Odsonne Edouard? I don't know. Who does he see to change it?
Yeah, he sees the likes of Edouard, Rak-Saki, Eze. I mean, listen, these guys, the likes of Rak-Saki, Eze, if they stick around, then they might get minutes in the Conference League this year. That might be really good for them. You can't really bank on them coming on and changing the game. Whereas, as you say, the likes of McAtee, Hutchinson coming in, I think Nuno now does have those options. So, bear in mind, we've got the game on Thursday. If it is level after 60, 70 minutes, you're probably looking at Forest and saying, right, what changes can you make to go and change the game? Because realistically, Oliver Glasner can't do that. And I think this was one of the issues in our game against Chelsea on the opening day. We more than matched them for a large part of that game, but they made 4 changes in the second half that just, took them up a level. They were fresher and they had a little bit more quality on the pitch. And I think we made a couple of changes. We brought on, I think it was Jefferson Lerma and Justin Devaney. It's just not quite the same. These are decent players, but they're not going to come on and make a massive impact regularly in Premier League games.
That free kick goal must have added to the sense of aggravation. I mean, people are saying it's the rules. I didn't know that rule. I bet probably every player on the pitch didn't know that rule. So that must have been even another kick in the teeth for you guys.
Matt, you should know by now, rules are rules, but certain rules apply to Crystal Palace and not to other teams. That's just the way it's going this summer.
What did you make of that rule though? When that ball went in, the old thing, you can't celebrate any goal now. Surely you thought you could celebrate that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crying shame, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, I remember hearing about the rule when it came in, but I must admit I'd long forgotten about it because it just doesn't get applied. Within about an hour of the full-time whistle going, Palace fans found about 6 or 7 instances from the last year of quite, iconic free kicks, the likes of Declan Rice against Real Madrid. There are people within 1 meter of the wall. So it's the classic case of, if you are going to do this sort of thing, you need to apply it consistently. And I think it was all summed up by, in the second half, Chelsea had a free kick in a very similar position. The referee actually, he did a little mark for the wall, but he also did a couple of marks like next to the wall, sort of saying you can't go within 1 meter of this. Like, when have you ever seen that before?
I remember, yeah. I remember you had one last season as well. I remember this one because I had Eze in my fantasy team, and he scored against Brentford, and it was a really good free kick, wasn't it? And then they chalked that one off as well. So yeah, we all have these memories of injustices as fans. I mean, ours is Willie Bolly's red card against Bournemouth, if you remember that one, for a really good tackle. But yeah, VAR doesn't cover itself in glory. Just before I ask for Matt's final thoughts, just a quick word of thanks for our second sponsors of this episode. James Bogue, he is a big part of the Forest Supporters Club. He's a member of this channel, and he's a really nice guy. If you are a business owner and you want to take your business to the next level and it's struggling, small business, big business, whatever, get in touch with James or scan the QR code, click the link in the description. He will help you grow your business. He's got a book, The 7 Secrets to Growing Your Business. But if you want to streamline things, make things feel calmer, a lot less stressful, and he can do a weekly practical session with you as well. So if you're an entrepreneur who needs that bit of help, do get in touch with James. I never normally do predictions because I find them pointless. I said this on the preview show as well, but we did break rank and do one for this game just because of the kind of off-pitch factor, and also the turmoil of not in turmoil, but losing Eze. The second game in a row, it feels like we're playing a team at the right time. So we did do a prediction, and I said it felt like a 1-1 game because Palace are still very good, and I feel like we're very good as well. So I say 1-1. What would you be saying?
I would say that I would take 1-1. Yeah, I think that'd be quite a good result for Palace. I mean, listen, if you've got a Botafogo player or a Lyon player who fancies scoring a controversial winner, then I'm sure they'll do that. But yeah, listen, I think at the minute I would definitely take 1-1. I think, as you say, your start to the season, Brentford at home is quite a nice fixture. I think if you could handpick a fixture, that'd be a decent one. And then, playing away from home against Palace off the back of a game on Thursday night, off the back of losing Eze, I think that's a pretty decent fixture as well. So yeah, if you gave me a point, I'd take it, because I do think that, well, I hope that in a couple of weeks we'll have a few more options and we'll be in a slightly better place.
Yeah, I think that perhaps sums up where we are. Like, if we was 1-1, I'd still be a little disappointed, isn't the right word. I feel like we can definitely win the game, and I don't necessarily see us losing. I know Palace are really good, obviously. Glasner's a top manager, but I feel like in the circumstances, it'll be a very tight game, and we can win it. We always draw with you as well. Has every game been a draw? Oh no, we won. We beat you at home when Henderson made a rare mistake, didn't he? I remember last season with Chris Wood's long shot. So yeah. Right. We shall leave it there. Thanks very much to Matt. If you've enjoyed this one, do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe. Do consider membership or Patreon as that lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify would be great. When do you guys discuss the game? Then will you record on a Monday, you and your cousin Ben?
We'll probably talk about it on Sunday night. I'm quite busy on Monday with recording, so yeah, we'll talk about it Sunday night when it's still probably still a little bit raw. We're gonna have quite a lot to talk about because obviously we need to talk about Eze, we need to talk about Frederick Stats, and then we need to talk about Forest. So yeah, should be a busy one.
Cool. Check out a team called Palace then if you want to get the Palace perspective on things, whatever happens at Selhurst Park. In the meantime, we are back tomorrow with our post-match show, Monday with Lewis McGugan and Greg, Mikey, Mark, or Temps, not quite sure on that, but Lewis will be on certainly. And then we'll move into other stuff ahead of West Ham, which is hopefully another game where we're playing a team at the right time. Be interested to see what Chelsea do to them after struggling against Palace, as Matt said. So yeah, thanks very much to Matt. Have a good day, everyone. If we don't see you tomorrow, we shall see you soon.